Hello and welcome back to I Literary Can't Even. I'm Kyra Lennon and I'm here with Claire Dugmore.
Hi.
And Paula Gravo.
Hello.
How are you guys doing? Because I know last week you were both off sick, so how are we all feeling?
Much better than I was.
Yay!
Much better too.
Yay. Sick now, aren't you, Kyra?
I am, yes. I got the cold. Came home from a weekend in Cardiff with my mother's cold, which she caught just before we left. So she struggled through it all weekend, and then I thought I was going to be fine, and then yesterday I could feel it. I was like, oh, I think I'm going to get this damn cold now.
Yeah.
And so my turn,
no
but
fun.
it's all good. We'll be fine. We're going to rock this. It was weird having a week off last week, so didn't want to miss any more.
Yeah.
All right. So we seem to have an array of topics lined up this week, and I think we've touched on this topic before in terms of how people respond to authors online. I think we talked about it in regards to reviews mostly as to how just kind of mean people can be about books sometimes. But also, authors often get a lot of personal attacks. So this is something that just seems to be a general thing with authors now. And not just with authors, but online in general. So the reason I brought this up was because there was, in the UK, for those of you who are listening outside, we have a morning TV show called This Morning. And it's, it's just one of those topical shows, talks about entertainment news and whatever, and then guests come on and, you know the deal. So this morning there was a lady on there and the tagline was something like, "I'm too good looking to find love." And this lady she was 44 years old, and she was saying how she doesn't look her age and how her children's friends sometimes have hit on her, just like a whole big thing about how good looking she is. But actually, the tagline was a little bit misleading, and that if you watch the whole interview, it wasn't that bad, I didn't think. I mean, to me, she was just a woman who was very comfortable with who she is. I can see how it could have been construed as arrogance, perhaps. But what inevitably happened is when This Morning's Facebook page posted the interview, it was immediately hit with a load of comments about, oh, she's not that good looking. Oh, she definitely looks her age. I think there was maybe some that were like, oh, she looks even older. Oh, and, she's delusional. This kind of thing. Now, okay, everyone is entitled to their opinion, for sure. But does that mean, first of all, that you have to broadcast that opinion?
Well, yeah.
I mean...
Well, that's sad, first of all. I mean, in a society where we're obsessed with youth, here's a woman who is very comfortable in her own skin. She's proud of what her age is. And I applaud her for the fact that she's that confident to go on national TV or local TV in Britain and say that. So God bless her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I give her credit for that. Now, that being said, you've got to understand that people are keyboard warriors who are going to be jealous, maybe, that she looks better than they do, and they're able to sit there and criticize her for it, which it kind of aggravates me because they can say whatever they want behind a keyboard. Now, seriously, you can say whatever you want, and who's going to take accountability for it?
Yeah,
that makes
exactly.
me mad.
I think that's a huge problem. And I think it applies to virtually anything online. A creator of something like an author or a video game publisher, a person going on a chat show saying they're too good looking to get dated, whatever. Someone will be out there having an opinion, and it's one thing having an opinion. Like, I guess it's fair enough if the viewers didn't think she looked younger than she did or whatever, that's an opinion. But it's when it starts getting nasty and people are saying, oh, go kill yourself, or you shouldn't have been born and stuff. And it's like, who the hell says that to people?
Exactly. No, I agree with you.
With them?
And there's this very obvious kind of thing that people seem to forget about, is that, you filter yourself in real life, and then before you type, should you not be thinking, hang on, would I say this out loud in real life? And if the answer is no, then why post it online?
Well, people seem to think that they can.
And the thing is, with Facebook as well, like Twitter is one thing, but on Facebook people mostly have their real names. So it's not necessarily without comeback, because people could then go, well, now I know who you are. So then why get involved?
Well, I don't know. I really think one thing to check yourself is if you do put your own name on, which I do on both accounts, is that you really are more liable for your words. And I think it does make you really seriously check what you're saying and take accountability for it. And people do it all the time. I know plenty of people, friends, in fact, that have, they do fake accounts and they can say whatever they want. And I think to myself, well, yeah, it gives you a sense of, privacy, but would you really say that in person? To me, that's kind of ridiculous.
Can understand making a fake account like a pen name, say, to protect
That's
your
different.
personal. Yeah. But why would someone go out of their way and make the trouble of making a fake account just to say nasty things?
I think people who have nothing better to do with their time, because otherwise, why would you?
I don't sit there throughout the day and think, oh, I'm feeling a bit peed off today. I know, I'm going to go bully some random stranger.
People do it all the time. Well, yeah. I mean, in a way, it's like it's cyberbullying, to be very honest with you. And it's sad, too. It's like, as far as author accounts, you have a pen name, and there's reasons for that, and that's your business. That's a different situation. That I don't consider a fake account. I mean, a fake account.
No, wait, that's like a business pseudonym.
Right. That's exactly right. That's totally different. When I say fake account, I mean somebody who's actually hiding their identity, what they call a sock account, where they're going and they're actually targeting people and going at people to just be nasty, which is awful.
That, like, the only purpose of that account is to be horrible to people.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that is terrible. Kyra is absolutely right. If you need to look at a tweet and say, would I say that to a person in real life? And if you'd say no, then you should not be tweeting that. Seriously.
I don't know if Claire will remember this, or whether she even saw it, because I can't remember. There was like a whole different set of circles. But back in the day on LiveJournal, they had this thing called the the paranoia meme, and basically it was used as, so you could write 10 things or however many about people you were friends with on LiveJournal, completely blatantly honest, but you couldn't say who you were talking about. So basically, everyone was reading it going, I wonder if that was about me. Was that about me? Not a single person used it to say anything nice. They all used it to say bitchy ass crap about people, and then you spent the rest of the day going, I wonder which one of those was about me.
Yeah.
It wasn't high level, this person did this and it's really upset me. It's more like, it's worse than that almost, because if you have a general issue with someone, then you can go up to them and say, hey, look, you did this and it really upset me, and you can hash it out.
Yeah.
But it was more like, oh, it's just like low level stuff. Oh, this person seems this or that. If it bothers you, why are you still friends with that person? Or is this thing so annoying that they actually kind of hate me, but they're too polite to say so?
That's the thing I don't get as well, though. If someone did something that affected your life so badly that, like, you had to make anonymous posts or whatever, why not just stop being friends with them? Just say, listen, I can't be dealing with this in my life. Instead of, I don't want people knowing my business. If I had an issue with someone, I wouldn't be posting about it on Facebook and stuff, because it's like, well, I don't want these random strangers knowing my business.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, I'm embarrassed watching other people fight. I'm just sitting there, like, hiding under a table, like, are you serious here? This is really not happening. I'm not watching this unfold. And yet it's also a voyeuristic thrill, too, watching it. Embarrassed, but I can't stop watching it either. How sick is that? So
I feel like, actually, you've made a good point there, because I feel like we're sitting here saying, oh, you know, this, that, and the other. I think we should maybe exercise some honesty in the fact that everyone bitches. Let's be real here. We've all,
of course,
at some point gone, oh, so-and-so did this. We've all done that. It's like,
there's a huge difference between being judgmental and attacking someone.
Sure.
If you were suddenly, your reaction to this woman on this morning was to find her on Facebook and say, you're an ugly bitch, I hope you fucking die.
Right.
That means something's wrong with you.
Yeah, that's different.
Right.
I quite agree. Well, but I was going to say, before I lose my train of thought, about the judgmental thing, is that, and I don't know if this is true of everyone, I feel as British people, most British people are very concerned about not coming across as being arrogant. I think, you know, we're viewed as being quite reserved. Yeah. We're not viewed as people who are very outspoken and very just up ourselves, particularly. We're viewed as being quite humble people, I think, from the outside.
Absolutely. You know,
and
very classy. And honestly, from an American perspective, one of the things I most admire about the British people are you're very classy, and you come across as I always say, and you guys will laugh at me, but I'll tell you honestly, I used to always say when I hear a British person speaking. It doesn't matter. They could be the bum on the street and they sound more educated than the most educated American. And everybody laughs at me. So, no, I have a great deal of respect for the Brits because you guys are much more reserved. You're more modest. And some of these Americans, we can be hillbillies. We act like someone. I'm mortified.
You get people like that over here as well, though.
Oh, sure.
I think.
Well, I think, you know what, we all have them in our own country, and we're all, you know, but for the most part, I think Americans look at the British as very proper. We see them a royal family, and I think when we look at our own Americans, we tend to look at the Beverly Hillbillies at times.
Right,
so,
but
I mean, it's
the
just
point,
perception.
The point I was trying to make, though, was that, as a rule, we tend to not be overconfident. So when we see someone who is on the TV saying, "Oh, I'm so great looking, that's why I can't find a boyfriend," our immediate reaction is, "Shut up. Like, get back in your proper place and, you know, be humble and a proper Brit." Right?
Yeah. I can see that.
But if this same woman had gone on the TV talking about how underconfident she was, everyone would have gone, "What are you talking about? You're really beautiful. You're so lovely. You look great for your age. What's wrong with us as a people that we have to knock someone down if we think that they're too above themselves and build them up when they're not?"
I also wonder as well,
that's
what would the reaction be if it was a man coming on saying he's too good looking?
I think it would have been worse, I think.
Really?
Oh, you can't get with me. Because it's women that watch the show, predominantly.
Well,
right.
Yeah, that's true.
You're right. I mean, it's a good question, though, and I think there is still very broad differences between how people react to what men do and what women do. And I don't know.
Well, I can tell what
Sorry, go
my
on.
reaction, if he would have said that, I would have been like, okay, what are you overcompensating for? No. What's wrong with you? Are you living with your mom? Are you broke? Sorry, that's mean, but it's my first reaction. Now, would I say that publicly? No. You know?
But then sometimes the cockiness, like Kyra was saying, bringing people down a peg or two, it can be intimidating. If you're like a club or a cafe or someone and you see someone who is obviously like confident and knows they're good looking, it's hard to approach them.
Sure.
Yes, but confidence is one thing. Cockiness is a turnoff.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a very fine line.
Yeah, cockiness is like to me, that's like it's hiding insecurity. I don't like that. I love somebody who's confident and who's comfortable in their own shoes, but somebody who's really cocky, it is such a turnoff because I've met a lot of people, whether it's male or female, and it's like, okay, what are you covering up? Insecurity. Yeah. I've seen it so many times where it's like, you know, it's a fine line. I'll give you a perfect example. If somebody is good at something, you don't have to be cocky about it. You're confident in everything. Exactly. You don't have to go and brag. Hey, if you're the number one tennis player in the world, you don't have to brag about it. People know it.
Right.
Yeah. You know, to be cocky about it, to me, it's a turnoff. It's like, really? I don't need to know. You know, somebody's coming out and saying, hey, I drive a Mercedes Benz. You know what? Go away. I don't need to know that. Yeah. And after that, it's like, I don't care. You know what? Go to hell. I don't need you.
But it's the difference between having that thought in your own head and going online and telling everyone that you think those people suck.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about, and this is very, in a very freedom of speech kind of way. Everyone's like, well, I have the right to say my opinion. Of course you do. Why do you have to?
Because you have the right to say it doesn't mean you have to. But
that's right.
Social media is also not just in the negative, saying things about people. It is full of oversharing.
Yeah. I know. Exactly. It's so ridiculous. It just, when I look at some things are just not meant to be shared. I literally want to say, so what's the big deal about that? Or the best ones are ones taking pictures of themselves exercising with these awful faces. It's like, I don't need to see that. I really don't. Please don't do that. Seriously.
I think that's got a bit less than it used to be fair. I think when social media was new, it was very much novelty, and everyone was like, look what I'm doing right now, look what I'm doing right now. And,
we're all guilty of that. I look at old Facebook statuses and it was like,
cringe. But wait a minute. Here's the difference, though. You realized it. People feel it with me. It's like, I don't even, at this point, it's like I just kind of retweet stuff and, if it's something cute, it's usually a cat picture I know pathetic, but I don't have kids. They're my fur babies. That's what gets tweeted. So, or my niece and nephew. So that's my big issue.
What is your definition of oversharing then? Because there are things that Facebook is for.
Well, when
yeah,
I say
bodily
oversharing,
functions.
yeah,
I feel that's oversharing.
It's like,
I think we agree.
one thing is like saying, oh, I'm sick, I've got the flu. Well, then there's people who go into graphic detail about their illness.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't need to know how many gallons of snot you produce.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I can tell you this, for the last week and a half, I've been really sick. Nobody's known about it except very close friends.
Right.
I mean, I haven't told everybody I've been hacking up a lung. I haven't been telling people what has been coming out of my nose and what color it is. And, come on. How many hours of sleep I've been getting and how horrid I looked. God, thank God. That's the kind of stuff I don't need to tell people.
Sure.
That's, and truthfully, I don't even want to look at myself. I don't want other people to hear about it. I don't even
Also,
want to
when you're that sick, you haven't even got the energy to be going on social media saying,
No.
oh my God, I'm this sick.
Exactly. And you know what? To be
Like
honest
in
with
bed.
you, you're right. I'm in bed. I'm reading what other people are doing, and I'm joking around because, quite frankly, I like to laugh on social media. I like to make jokes,
Yeah.
and I like to make other people's day happier. Because honestly, I'm about brightening people's lives, not sitting there and telling everybody how wonderful my life is, and bragging about my great life. Because you know what? I want to hear about others' lives. I want to be a bright light to people, not just, think that I'm the greatest thing on earth. Because I'm not. I know that.
Sure
Other
you
people
are.
have more inspiring things to tell me. I want to learn. And if I can be a bright light to somebody and make somebody laugh, then then that's my purpose in the world. So that's kind of my motto. Not oversharing, that's for sure.
You're my bright light, Paula.
Tomorrow I'll post with snot colors coming out of my nose.
Yay!
Thank you. That'll help.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Although we missed a week last week due to various illnesses, we did pose a question. Lucky. We did pose a question on our Facebook page to authors, asking them what kind of things inspire them to write. Now, I think, again, that's something we've touched on briefly in a previous pod, I think we did. But I thought, what I'm looking for, I think it'd be really great, is to get more interaction with other authors and readers, and just interaction in general would be amazing. So, Tracy Podger, she said that people watching is one of her hobbies, and that she will sit in cafes and make up stories about the people around her. So, have you ever done that?
No.
Have you not?
No, I must be really weird.
We should do that together one time. When I'm up visiting you, we should definitely do that.
Yeah, you'll be up soon.
Not long to go, a couple of weeks to go now.
Yeah.
What about you, Paula? Do you ever do that? Do you ever see people and kind of create characters for them, or...?
Actually, I do people watch a lot. When I'm at the airport, I do. Just in general, I think it's a lot of fun. My friend Eric and I do that together, actually.
Yeah, so it's definitely, I think, a good two-person activity, because you can kind of enjoy it more, I think, with two people.
But you know what I do? Not only people watch, but I don't know if this makes sense, with the blogs, it's really interesting to hear what people are talking about. I don't want to say that I sit there and listen, but sometimes people are really loud and they're talking about things.
Oh, God,
It's interesting to get a pulse of what is really important to people, and that sometimes what inspires me to write some blogs. So that I will say I do. But yes.
Actually, you're not alone, because MV Feeney did mention eavesdropping in her comment. She said
it's not even like intentional.
No,
just people talk loudly.
Yeah, you can't help it here.
I mean, you can't help it. And to be honest with you, I've had some really hilarious. You intercept a few conversations, and some of them are just like, "Oh my God, seriously!" And it's they're better than soap operas. Some of them are just like, "I can't believe they're being so loud," and you just can't. You have to stay and listen to the end of it.
I must say, the other day when we were going up to Cardiff on the train, this woman was totally eavesdropping on my conversation with my mum, and we weren't even talking loud, but we were sat at a 4-person table, and she was sat on the opposite side of the aisle but facing our way so she could see us, and she was watching us. Every time we spoke, she was staring at us, like listening. So in the end, we just stopped talking because it was getting really weird, because she joined in with our conversation a few times as well, and I was like, that's just quite rude.
Yeah. Good.
So, yeah, maybe she was writing a book. Maybe that's what was going on there.
Or maybe she was just really friendly. You do get those, like, really friendly people that
Yeah, but it's not,
suddenly
like,
start talking to you randomly.
I'm friendly, but I
Definitely.
don't barge in on other people's conversations. It's one thing if you hear something that's funny and you laugh and then, you know, you kind of acknowledge and that's cool. But she kept doing
Definitely.
it, and I just found it quite creepy. I mean, you've been out with me, you've seen me, I will literally talk to anyone. But it's not the same as purposely earwigging on someone's conversation and trying to join in whenever you can.
Lingering.
Yeah, it just
was
felt really
crazy.
uncomfortable. So if you're going to eavesdrop, do it subtly.
Yeah.
We had a situation when Eric and I were going to Florida one time. We were on a charter bus to get to the rental car, and I was sitting next to him. We had taken different flights, so this is the first time we'd seen each other. We're sitting there talking, you know, just visiting, and we were pretty lively and excited because we were very excited to see each other. And this other couple, it was the funniest thing. They're sitting there. This one, the lady's like staring at me, like evil stare, because I'm laughing and he's laughing and we're happy and smiley. And she was like, you could have killed me with her looks. She was so mean.
Wow.
And I stood, and Eric kept looking at her, and I was like totally ignoring her because I'm like, I'm going to pretend she's not there because she's like, if her looks could kill, I would have been dead right there. And later on, Eric's like, did you catch that? I said, yeah, I don't know what. Maybe she has a problem because I was happy. I don't know what her problem. But it was so odd. I almost was going to turn around and say, is everything okay? You know, she's like, she had a problem that I was all bubbly and happy. It's like, oh, excuse me.
So funny you should say that, because that happens to me a lot. And the other night, I was at an Impractical Jokers live show. It's funny. It's comedy. It's supposed to be funny. You're supposed to laugh.
Yeah.
And the person in front of me kept turning around to stare at me every time I laughed. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why aren't you enjoying this? Like, I know...
It's not a funeral. It's a comedy show, for God's sake.
My laugh is a tad obnoxious, I must say. It's a comedy. It's not like I was laughing, like you said. It wasn't like I was laughing at an appropriate time. It was supposed to be funny. And she kept turning around to look at me. And I was like, I'm not going to stop. So, you know, I'm enjoying myself. It's very weird.
As you should. Life is too short to be miserable. If you want to be miserable, get the fuck off the bus.
You're my person, because a friend of mine, when we were, oh god, I'm probably about like 19, 20, there was a girl I used to work with, a friend of mine, and we used to go often have our lunch break together. And one time her mum and her little sister came with us, because I guess they were just in town at the same time. And her sister looked at me with this very serious face and she was like, why do you smile so much?
What?
And I was just like, that is the weirdest question. It's just, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with that? Is it bad? I'm like, Elf. Smiling's my favourite.
I know. I smile all the time. What's the problem with that? You know what they said? It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'll smile, thank you.
Yes.
I don't care. That's the way it goes.
We'll have these lovely laughter lines instead of the frown lines, which would suck.
That's right. I don't care. I'm a happy person. That's just how I roll. And if people don't like that, then you know what? Here's a Valium and shut up. That's how I am. I don't care. I really don't.
We seem to have drifted off the topic again, but okay, so back to the inspiration thing. Annalisa Crawford had a good one, because she said, I have a habit of putting my worst traits into my characters. I've always had a bad memory and can barely remember my own childhood, so my current MC has no memory, which has shaped the story profoundly. Now, that's bizarre to me. Have you ever done that? Have you ever put bad traits about yourself in a book?
Possibly, maybe not consciously. I think that every character that an author writes probably has bits of the author in.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think I've ever consciously gone, oh well, one of my negative traits is so-and-so, so I'm going to write a character with that.
And maybe that's not what she meant. Maybe it's something like you, or, you know, it's done subconsciously that she's noticed. But I think that was quite odd, because I don't feel like I've done that to too big a degree. And if I did, I probably wouldn't say that out loud, or at least admit what they were. But I think there are parts of, like, relationship stuff that are bits of me that are maybe... but they're not even really bad traits. They're just, like, literally just parts of who I am.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever really put a bad trait into my characters before. Not on purpose, for sure.
One thing I'll say is what I did do, which is not bad traits, but I wrote a blog one time that I almost was sorry I did it, but I was in a mood where I'm like, I'm just going to expose some of the stuff that I'm, like, I have insecurities about, so that was a tough one for me to do.
Yeah, I bet.
And after I wrote it, it was like I it was a cleansing type of a thing, but then after I wrote it and published it, I felt like, oh, should I have done that? It felt like I felt so vulnerable, but then you know what? It was a good thing because I did get one comment back that said, wow, you went through that. It made me feel like I wasn't the only one. So I thought, okay, well, that maybe was a good thing.
It's worth it. Yeah, it's definitely worth it for that.
Yeah, so you know what? I think sometimes I think it's good to put traits of yours into characters because you know what? Sometimes maybe in a story you work some of those traits out.
Yeah.
It maybe helps you work through it. I don't think that's actually, I would do, if I did write a story, I would definitely do that because maybe in a way when you do a story, you work some of those traits out in a way and work through some of those issues on your own. That makes sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think some writers do that because, like J.K. Rowling says, a lot of Harry Potter and the darkness of it, like the Dementors and stuff,
that makes
based
sense.
on her struggles with depression and her losing.
But that's not a trait though. That's a situation.
Yeah, that's an experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I get absolutely. But just to put in like a bad character trait, I guess is not probably something I've ever thought about before. It's because I'm perfect, and I'm going to be on This Morning soon talking about how perfect I am because I have no bad traits.
I know you are perfect. Absolutely. You're both perfect. We're all perfect. What the hell? What am I talking about? That's
I think it's hard sometimes as well admitting your own faults. You don't sit there and list them.
No, you're right.
No, but you know what? It's. I think as you get older, there's certain things you see in yourself. It takes different episodes in your life to bring those qualities to the forefront. So, but that's maturity too. I think in different circumstances, I'm sure both of you have seen things that are kind of like, wow, I didn't realize I did that or said that. And, you know, it does, it's kind of enlightening. I've seen that in my own situation. And I just kind of sat back and thought, wow, I need to work on that, or, you know, whether it's self-confidence or other things. But those are good things because it's like it teaches us that no matter what age we are, we can still grow and learn and become better people.
Sure.
So,
I have been recently, this is very recently, slightly concerned that I've come across as self-centered on Twitter for no real reason, honestly. But I think also my anxiety's been really high lately, so I've been debating whether it's my anxiety that's telling me that I'm coming across as self-centered. And
yes, anxiety. I would agree. I don't ever see that in you.
I'm all for putting yourself first, I think.
But
you've got to, because...
Like, you, as far as I'm concerned, are possibly the most selfless person I've ever met in my life. If people want something from you, you will always go, you know, you'll do your best to fit it in, and I love that. It's amazing.
Yeah, but it's only people that matter.
Okay, sure.
It's not like I'm like going around to random strangers. Can I like decorate my house?
The good deed fairy.
Oh, that's so cute.
If you want to decorate my house, feel free. By the way, Per.
That's hilarious. I wish you could come over here, Claire. I would like the house decorated too.
You're gonna. Well, you should see what. I was literally just gonna say. You should see her Sim skills, Paula. They are second to none. Seriously.
But you know what? The difference between this is the thing I think needs to be said. When you say about self-centered, the fact that you're even saying that shows a sense of self-awareness that people that are narcissistic and self-centered don't have. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? It's like you
completely.
are, you know, the fact that you're checking yourself and even saying that is not something that someone who's self-centered and narcissistic would even contemplate.
That's true.
So I think that needs to be said very much so. And you know what? When you are writing, and in the short time that I've been doing the blog, and I mean short time compared to what you guys do, you got to have some confidence in what you do in order to do it well. And as I said, there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness. And in order to do something well, you have to have confidence in your abilities. I don't care what it is. Absolutely. So you got to believe in yourself. And there's nothing wrong with believing that you can do what you have to do. That does not mean that you're self-centered. It means that you believe that you have the ability to do it. If you doubt yourself, that's a bad thing. So you got to dig deep inside, and you have people around you who do believe in you. Those are friends and people that inspire you. And honestly, this business, I think we all are prone to work. We see people who are self-centered and narcissists, and we're so freaked out by not wanting to become them that we start questioning ourselves.
Absolutely.
Are we turning into that?
Random tangent about quotes. Don't you love that the new £10 note has that Jane Austen quote on?
I haven't even noticed.
Yeah, I can't remember it. It's something about there's no greater pleasure than reading.
No, I haven't even noticed it.
I saw it the other day and I was just like, yay, look, reading quotes.
That's awesome.
Money.
No,
There you go.
genuinely hadn't noticed. Mind you, a £10 note has not stayed in my purse long enough for me to read it yet, so...
I have to look and play with the new ones because they're all like plasticky.
They're lovely. I didn't like them at first, but now I'm quite into them.
No, I like them.
Except if you're not careful, they do bounce out of your purse and run away down the street, so you do have to be very careful with
I
them.
have not had that problem yet, thank God.
Well, see, before I was not savvy to this fact, and I almost lost a £5 note as it jumped right out of my purse on a windy day. My mum chased it down the street. It was quite funny. But yeah, there you go. Okay, quotes. So we were talking about quotes the other day, and Paula had this idea that we could maybe pick a favourite quote and talk about why it's important to us. And I thought, seeing as we're doing the books thing, then that would be quite a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, Paula, do you want to go first, seeing as this was your idea?
Sure, why not? So this, of course, everyone knows that I'm a tennis player and I love tennis, and I decided on when I started loving tennis, I did a lot of research about different players and everything, and one of the tournaments I love the most is Wimbledon. And this particular quote comes from when you walk into center court of Wimbledon as a player. This quote from Rudyard Kipling's If, you walk in and it says, "If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same." That is my favorite quote from that poem. And it's absolutely, every time I think about it, I just love it. Because if you think about it, as competitors, whether you're with life or in general, it's just basically how you handle victory and defeat.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. And I love it because it's basically winning and losing with grace. If you can handle that, you basically have mastered life.
That entire poem is full of magic.
Oh, I love it. I mean, that is my favorite part of it just because it kind of inspired me to read the whole poem after I read that quote.
Yeah.
And every part of it you can relate. There's an amazing article, and I'll send it to you guys, talking about the poem applying Kipling's If to Wimbledon. And it's beautiful.
Oh, how cool.
It talks about it. It's just amazing. I love it. And I just, as a tennis player, when I read that poem, I'm just like, every time I read it, there was something else that I could apply to it, and just talking about keeping your head about you when all others are losing theirs. And
that's my favorite part.
Match, or it's just, it's so apropos with life. And what I did was when I had a couple of friends who had children I got very close to. When they graduated from 8th grade, I would print out that poem and give it to them as part of their graduation. Really nice. Yeah, because I think it's kind of a blueprint for life if you think about it. It's really nice. So that's my quote that was very apropos for me.
That's a good one.
Would you ever get excerpts of the poem tattooed or anything like that?
I thought about it, honestly. Yeah. And, I've never done I have a tattoo, but I've never done anything.
Paula, you're killing me.
Yes, I have one tattoo. It's not any words. I've never had words done.
What is it, Paula? What's your tattoo?
Okay. Here's my review. Kyra knows all about this. It's a Batman signal.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It doesn't mean what you think it means, Claire. It doesn't. It means something entirely different.
It's on my middle of my back.
It's right on our ass, Claire.
No.
Sorry, I'm just messing with you. I'm so sorry.
And Kyra can tell you why that I did that. She'll explain it. I'll let her do that.
Is it the Jerry Booting thing?
Yep.
Yes,
she knows.
It is.
It's the Booting symbol.
I remember you telling me about that and the t-shirt.
Yes.
Yep.
J Boots.
That's the one. I did it because I wanted to do something that was really cool, and that's what I decided. I love Batman anyway, so that's the truth. But when Kyra did that was one of our things because He actually retweeted that, and that is, I don't think I ever told Kyra this. When I met him the first time, I actually had on my phone for the screensaver that actual tweet, that screen picture, and I showed it to him, and he was laughing. So
That's funny.
I'm like, you know what? It was such a memorable night that I'm just like, you know what? That's something that I'll always remember. So, and no, he will never see that because it's on my back, and nobody sees it. It's covered up by bathing suits and everything. My mom doesn't even know I have it, so
She doesn't listen to this, right?
she doesn't, and we're gonna keep that from her. Nobody knows about it. You guys know about it.
Well, everyone's gonna know about it now.
That's fine.
Okay.
And no, Jerry doesn't know about it either.
He will if he hears this.
Well, that's okay. He can hear about it.
Oh my god. Okay, Claire, how about you? What do you have?
I have, this actually took me a really long time because there's so many brilliant quotes from like different series like Harry Potter and Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and stuff. So,
Sure.
yes, it took me a long time to narrow it down, but I've got one from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And it's, when the snow falls and the white winds blow, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. And I just think that is such a good thing to apply to life if you take the, like, snow and the winds to be, like, troubles in life.
Yeah.
When life's troubles come, if you try to face them alone, you just can't handle it.
Yeah.
But if you've got a pack, whether it's your friends or your family or whatever, you can get through it.
That
And
is
I
a
think
cracking quote.
that's a really important thing to remember.
Definitely.
Definitely. No, that's great.
I love that. Say it again.
Yeah, snow falls and the white winds blow, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
I love that.
Yeah,
That is
it's
beautiful.
brilliant, isn't it?
Will you get that tattooed somewhere?
I really am thinking about it. I just have this whole fear of tattoos and how much they'll hurt.
Me too. That's my entire problem with them. I don't
Yeah.
care about, like, people are like, oh, but they look horrible. No, they don't. They're wicked. But I'm
Shut up.
not good with
They
pain.
look great.
They do.
Yeah, same.
So let's hear your quote.
Okay. Well, I went predictable and Harry Potter because, you know,
Yay, good.
that's where all the best quotes live, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
there are
So-
some brilliant ones.
I'm a big fan of Dumbledore quotes, and I tend to flick between quite a lot of them, but I think my favourite is, "It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live," because I'm quite the dreamer.
And it's so easy to get wrapped up in dreams and fantasies and, like the quote says, forget to live.
Yeah, so it's one I kind of try to remember because like I said, I am a big daydreamer. I have a lot of ideas, I have a lot of plans, a lot of things I want to do, but if you spend so long thinking about them and not doing them, then there's a problem.
Then you achieve nothing, yeah.
Right.
Mm.
So, you know, you have to balance out the dreaming and the working and the living and all of that stuff. So that's why, for me, it's one of my favourites, but Dumbledore is definitely full of amazingness.
Yes, he is.
I mean, I know he didn't write them himself because he's not real, but that's besides the point.
He is real.
He is real. It's all real. Where's my letter, damn it?
We're muggles. We're muggles. There's that whole magical world out there, but we just don't know about it because we're not magical.
I think something's gone horribly wrong here. I think we are magical, but they just didn't realise. And now we're too old to go to school.
Did you ever respond when I said that thing on Facebook? What would you do if you had kids and they got a Hogwarts letter? Yeah, this was years ago, I think I posted it, but it would be, I don't know whether it would be brilliant or horrible because, like, you'd get a glimpse of this world.
I'd be dead jealous.
Enter it fully.
Yeah, I'd be really jealous.
Yeah, it'd be really difficult, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I'd be like, okay, off you go then. Be okay with it, but I would inside be going, damn you to hell.
Yeah.
Where is my letter? It would be kind of fun to have a magic kid, though.
It would be really fun, but, like, I'd also be incredibly jealous.
Yeah, I would too. But then, like, if you could get them to do magic stuff at home when they're old enough,
Yeah.
you'd be like, can you just cook the dinner or, you know, iron the clothes? Just whip your wand out, get
We'd
that done
be
for
like
me.
reverse Mr. Weasley. You know,
Yeah.
how he's like obsessed with muggle stuff. We'd be like,
Yeah.
come show us your magic trick.
Yeah, we would. Absolutely. Okay, I guess that just about wraps us for this week. So I will hand you over to Paula with all of our contact details.
You can go ahead and email us at iliterarycan'teven@yahoo.com. You can see us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/. /iliterarycan'teven. And you can see us also on Twitter at www.twitter.com/iliterarycan't.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to drop us a line or follow us on Facebook and Twitter, please go ahead, because we love to hear from you. And I guess that's it for us sick people who have been coughing and spluttering our way through this episode. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's bye from me.
Bye from Claire.
Bye from Paula.
And we're out. See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.